Hello, this is Julie Hogue with the Vegetarians and Meat Lovers podcast. I'm so excited you're here today. It is getting very near to Christmas, and so I've got Christmas on the brain, Christmas food. Obviously, I'm baking, and I'm planning on making some cutout cookies today. But in all this baking, you know what is in my brain? I want something a little bit easier for Christmas Eve. Our family tradition has always been to do, rather than a big meal, we do a bunch of appetizers. And so I have some appetizers that are no-cook appetizers. They're just a little bit easier, and because you don't have to cook them. One is super easy, and another one is easy, another one's a little bit harder. But sometimes I don't know about you, but I want something a little bit easier that isn't involved in a season when I'm making so much, like baking. Like I make certain cookies every Christmas. I make the pula bread, which I think I put this on the podcast at one point. And so I'm doing so much baking, right? And we also make a Christmas Day dinner for the 5 of us. And then all of a sudden it's New Year's, right? Which is also appetizers for our family anyway. And so there's so much cooking and baking going on. Sometimes these no-bake easy things are a great option, I have to say. And the first one I'm going to say is actually from my neighbor. When I was growing up, I was a little kid. There was an older woman that lived next door, and she always intrigued me because she had 2 kitchens in her house. Now, she bought the house. She didn't put the 2 kitchens in, but I always as a kid, I was fascinated by the fact that she had a kitchen upstairs and down. And who knows, maybe it was for someone who, was living in the basement or whatnot, but she'd use both kitchens. And when I'd go to her house and my mom would take me over there, it was always just cool. I'm like, you have 2 kitchens. It was just, it was just one of those funny things I remember. Anyways, she used to make these seasoned oyster crackers. Her name was Bert, right? Yeah, it's actually Bertha, but she liked to go by Bert because she didn't like Bertha. So she got this Bertie name going on, and she was definitely a character. But anyway, she used to make these seasoned oyster crackers, and so my family got in the habit of making them too. And they're like a little snacky item. So basically, it's seasoned oyster crackers. So you get oyster crackers. And you take 1 teaspoon of dill weed, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 envelope of original Hidden Valley Ranch dressing, like that in the powder, and 1 cup oil. Now, the original recipe says vegetable oil, but I don't know about you, but I've been listening to all these people in the media talking about how there's certain oils that are good and bad for us. So I'm going to suggest you use olive oil or avocado oil because the other oils aren't necessarily so good for us. Vegetable oil, canola oil are not very good for us. I would suggest using olive oil or avocado oil because they're supposed to be better for us. And coconut oil is too, but that's like a solid. So unless you melt it and use it quick, I suppose you could do that, but I'm not really sure about that one. I've never tried it, so I'm not going to condone that. But that's another one to try. So this is so easy. So easy. You mix all of those ingredients together, the dill weed, garlic powder. Did I say 1 teaspoon garlic powder? I'm going to back up and redo that. 1 teaspoon dill weed, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 envelope original Hidden Valley Ranch dressing, and 1 cup of oil. Okay, just want to cover my butt, make sure I didn't miss that garlic powder. So you're going to mix those together, and then you're going to pour them over the crackers. And use about 12-ounce package of oyster crackers. She used the square ones, but I've used different shapes, so it doesn't really matter. And then you let it stand overnight. Boom, done. The thing I want to try this year is I want to make those and mix them with Chex Mix. Well, now Chex Mix you're going to bake, so that doesn't really fit in the no-bake thing. But I just want to see what that's like. That just sounds really interesting to me. I don't know. Maybe it'll be weird to have the Worcestershire sauce and the dill and the ranch. I don't know, but it just sounds intriguing. And I like to try weird stuff, new stuff, because it's just fun. That's the fun thing about cooking. You can take your recipes you love and then just mix it up or do something different. Now, this one is a top favorite at my house. This next one, I do have in my cookbook, 1 Dish, 2 Diets, last minute hybrid pickle wrap appetizer. This actually happened to me where I was I needed another appetizer. We were having a party and something fell through and I was oh my gosh, I did not have time to go to the store. So I looked around at what I had in my house And that's how this recipe was born. And it's so easy. And it is often things that I have in my house, at least. You use, so for this one, it takes about a half hour, 45 minutes. I know that because I timed it for the cookbook. And so it's 16 baby dill pickles. And the amount is really going to depend on the size of the pickles. You know, pickles are kind of variable in size, right? 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese, softened. 5 slices of thinly sliced ham sandwich meat. And then you can make meatless ones. That's the other thing I love about this. It's a hybrid appetizer. And 10 slices. Deli sliced I like best, where they're kind of more thin slices of cheddar cheese. And 4 burrito-size flour tortillas. This is so easy. And when you roll it nicely, it actually looks pretty attractive. And it looks like it's more complicated than it is. It's not very sophisticated at all, but it looks great. It tastes great, and my family just loves it. I end up making this several times a year, just even as a snack or an appetizer, because everyone loves it so much. Now, I've done it with other cheeses. I've done it with turkey, but my family tends to love the cheddar ham pickle combo the best. So that's one we often do. So basically, you're just going to lay the tortilla out flat on a cutting board, and you spread out 2 tablespoons of cream cheese over the entire surface of the tortilla. Lay 2.5 slices of cheddar cheese in a line down the middle of the tortilla. For the ham rolls, you're going to lay 2.5 slices of ham on top of those cheese slices. Spread 1 tablespoon cream cheese down the middle of the ham or cheese slices, depending on which ones you're making. Dry off the pickles with a paper towel to remove moisture. Seems kind of like a weird thing, right? But you don't really want it to get all like soggy in there with pickle juice. You know, like the cheese will get like slimy and soaking in it. So I roll them up in a paper towel. And then you lay the pickles in a line down the middle of the cheese or ham slices. Then you're going to roll tightly on that tortilla from one edge. Roll it tightly at one edge parallel with the pickles. And as you continue to roll tightly over the pickles, sometimes I even like squeeze it there, you keep rolling to the other edge. Press and squeeze the roll to ensure it will stay together. Cut the tortilla roll in 1-inch sections. Sometimes you have to like mess with the ones at the end because they get a little bit messed up, but you can finagle them and still make them look decent. Repeat for remaining 3 tortillas. Customize as desired for how many meat and how many meatless ones you want. And I love this because I even really love it without the ham. They're really good. I don't know, something about cheese and pickles. Cheddar cheese and pickles really just taste good together. And then you serve immediately or store it in the fridge. I do like to serve it kind of pretty close to when I make it, but I have had it overnight and it's been okay like the next day. The tortillas can get a little bit soft. So that's something that can happen. And Kate, I'm so excited about Christmas. Are you guys excited about Christmas? It's really coming fast. I cannot believe how fast it's coming. My son is coming home from college at the end of the week, and it's just going to be really fun. We're hosting this year. We host every other year. My sister takes the other year. So we go every other. And so it's going to be interesting. We have 3 dogs, and the oldest one is in kidney failure. He is 16. And so he's having more pee accidents. So we bought a shampooer for the first time. And I'm thinking after our kids are now 21, 18, and 15, and we have 3 dogs, and we finally now are buying a shampooer. Sometimes you like look at yourself and be like, why did we rent them all the time when you can buy them for a decent price? Anyway, ridiculousness. So we've done that, and we've done it once. We're going to do it again because we don't want it to be like stinky, like, urine when people come over for Thanksgiving. I got Thanksgiving on the brain still for Christmas. So, and I know I've got all my things lined up, what I need to make. I need to make cutout cookies. I need to make another round of peanut blossoms. My kids already chowed them completely. I knew they wouldn't last. I used to make spritz. We'll see if I make those. And then the tarts. Those are really fun to make. My mom used to make the prune tarts for my dad because his mom used to make them. But my kids aren't like a huge fan of the prune, so I usually switch it out for something else like apple or raspberry or strawberry or something like that. I did buy some apple, so see if I can get myself to make that. And then the pula bread, which everybody loves. And I usually make a little portion for all my family members to take some home. My nephew is like completely obsessed with it, and he wants my sister to make it, but it's a very involved recipe. It's really hard. It's a Finnish pula bread that's a braided bread, and it's made from scratch. And it really is cumbersome. It's probably one of the most cumbersome recipes I've ever made. Anyway, back to the no-bake appetizers. I do have one more I'm going to share. This is also from my cookbook, One Dish, Two Diets. And I like this one because it's got beans in it. Being a vegetarian, I love to have the beans. Now, this is a vegetarian recipe, but if you really wanted to add meat, you could just split the filling in half and like add ground beef or something like that, right? Or, cooked ground beef, obviously, or cooked sausage. There's different things you could do to make it meat, with meat for people who want the meat. It wouldn't be that hard. So anyway, this is spicy black bean and avocado roll-ups. It's a tasty appetizer. It has like a delicious spicy flavor. It's perfect for parties, group gatherings, Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. And usually, if I don't use all the filling or if I don't want to make all the rolls, I'll keep the filling separate. And then I will fill tortillas like the next day. Because if you do fill the tortillas, sometimes the tortillas get soft overnight and they just aren't as good. So if I'm not going to use all the filling, I will save it. And, it's just better, I think. Those tortillas just don't last and they get soft. This one is a little bit longer if you make the full batch. Now, if you're not going to make the full batch, it probably won't be as long. It's a little bit longer because of the process, about an hour and a half to make this one. But you don't have to bake it. So once you're done doing the prep work and rolling them up and cutting them, you're done. Ingredients. 1/3 cup chopped onion, 1 green pepper chopped, 1/2 cup medium salsa, 1/2 cup of black beans from a can, rinsed and drained, 1 ripe avocado, 1 7.5 ounces container jalapeno flavored cream cheese, softened. You like that stuff? Oh, I love those flavored cream cheeses. 1 tablespoon fresh lime juice, 1 cup shredded mild cheddar, 1 teaspoon taco seasoning, any kind will do, and 5 to 7 large size tortillas, depending on how many you want to make and if you're going to make use the full filling. So you're going to chop that 1/3 cup onion and 1 green pepper, and then you're going to puree it in a food processor or somehow blend it up. It doesn't have to be totally smooth. If you don't want it to be totally smooth, that's okay. Set it aside. And then you're going to combine the salsa, the black beans, avocado, and 1 tablespoon lime juice. And then you're going to put it in a food processor and puree that. Combine the onion and green pepper puree, salsa puree, and container of jalapeno cream cheese. Best again if it's softened. 1 teaspoon taco seasoning and 1 cup shredded cheese in a large bowl. Stir that all together really well. That's your filling. And basically this is so easy. Once you have your filling, you're going to spread about 4 tablespoons of filling evenly across each tortilla. Roll the tortilla up tightly and slice into 1-inch rolls. I do like to refrigerate it for about a half hour before serving it because it just kind of firms it up a little bit. Not that you have to do it, but especially if you're serving it like in heat, like in the summer or outside or something. But those are 3 no-bake appetizers that can be hearty. I mean, obviously, actually not the oyster crackers. Those are little snackies, right? But those 2 are, especially the one with the meat and cheese. Well, they both have cheese, but there's kind of double cheese, I guess, in the pickle wrap one. But they're just really good. And, you can get different size pickles. Like I've tried it with the small pickles. Medium pickles work pretty good too. I haven't tried them with those big giant pickles. I feel like those would be a little bit harder to eat. But, you could try it if you want. I don't know. There's so many different things to try, but I just really love the no-bake appetizers, especially when I'm making so many other foods. It's just, of course, other ideas I do, or my family just loves shrimp cocktail. I don't eat that again because I'm a vegetarian, but they love shrimp cocktail. And so that's always an easy one. The bread bowl with the spinach dip. Everybody knows about that one. Can't go wrong with that either. I really like also, I've taken this too, where you take like those little mini Hawaiian bread, like little buns, or, you could take the buns or the sandwiches. They make little sub bread with them too. I take like the spinach dip and spread it on there, kind of like how you'd put mayo on the top, but you spread the spinach dip, and then you can add, your cheddar cheese and make little sandwiches like that. And you could add ham to the ones you want to have meat. Now, that's a really simple one, too. That's a no-bake, easy one. The other thing that would be really delicious, that I've actually tried this one, actually it's pretty good, is to take pickle slices and add it in there, too. And especially if you have those sandwich-ready pickle slices, those are really just uniformly cut, and those are easy to add on the little bread. And then you have these little Hawaiian sandwiches that are just super easy. I've never heated them up. I'm sure you probably could if you wanted to. But again, that's another no-bake, easy to make, very good, yummy appetizer. And the Hawaiian bread is so good with the spinach dip, right? And there's so many good spinach dips out there. So it's not like you have to make the spinach dip. Buying some at the store, give yourself a break a little bit, right? You can buy some things made. I mean, I love to do homemade too, but sometimes, like for a spinach dip, like honestly, it's not going to taste that much different if I make it versus I buy it. Those spinach dips are all good. So, this is a way to give yourself a little bit of a break when you're making so many other foods. Do no-bake appetizers. Maybe buy a portion, buy your spinach dip instead of making it. Just some ideas to make it a little bit easier and more enjoyable for you because you want to enjoy the holidays, right? I mean, I sure do. We all want to. And good food is important, but so is your sanity. So if you're finding yourself just crazy busy, try some of these kinds of things to make it a little bit less hectic for you and still really delicious. Well, thank you again so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you enjoy it. Down in the podcast show notes, you can find my book, One Dish, Two Diets, where I have recipes for the hybrid vegetarian and meat-eating family. And I just released a little tiny book. I call it tiny because it's short compared to like the cookbook. But it's an ebook, and it has some recipes in it, too. So I have some tips, and then it has some recipes in there, too. And it's based on my idea, again, where you're making food for a split table. Hybrid recipes. And this little book is called How to Cook for a Split Table of Vegetarians and Meat Eaters. And it is $2.99, and it's also on Kindle Unlimited. So you can do that. It's an ebook. It's about 40 pages. So it gives you some more tips about cooking this way. And I do have some recipes in there too. So check it out. It's a great way to figure out new ideas to cook this way. And as I always say, it's really not that hard. You just kind of have to be mindful where you're going to put the meats, how you're going to do it. It's just changing your approach in your method, your technique about where you put the meat and where you don't. You don't have to be a short order cook. There's a lot of things you can do to make it easier for yourself. Okay, well, I hope you have an amazing Christmas. I'm super excited that you have stayed this long if you're still listening. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have an amazing, wonderful, happy holiday season. Merry Christmas and New Year's. And I'm hoping I can get another episode in here before the end of the year, and I will try hard to do that. But anyway, enjoy. Have a great day. All right, bye-bye now. Take care.